so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, let's go. Let's dive right in. A big and long episode today. I'm going to try to get through it as fast as I can. First things first, though. As you can see, I'm not wearing my Brooklyn Nets hat. I unfortunately misplaced it, though I have a pretty good idea. I know where it is, but unfortunately, where it is probably about 25 to 50 miles away from here. So, yeah, whatever. So, it is what it is. So, no Nets hat. But I'm still NetsBoy. I still got the Brooklyn Nets sweatshirt. I still wear the sunglasses. Still NetsBoy. I'm pretty sure you can tell it's still me. So, just, yeah, see, whatever. Who cares? No one really cares. Just like to point that out. No one cares, though. But anyway, so this is a fun episode. This is the episode I do every year. And this is an episode that tends to get a lot of views and hopefully this one gets a lot itself. And that is trades I believe the Nets should make come the trade deadline. Now, the trade deadline is right around the corner. It's currently February 5th. The trade deadline is February 7th. So 2 days. And probably by the time most of you are seeing this video, it'll be 1 day. So right around the corner coming up, and it kind of snuck up on us. And yeah, so I spent some time looking at some contracts and some trade possibilities between the Nets and other teams. And this video is going to be some moves that I would consider. I'm not going to spend really any time talking about the actual what's going on with the Nets. You know, they lost terribly to the Bucks the other night, and they had that tough loss to the Magic, a game that they should have won. But the injuries are starting to catch up with them. They really are, and you can see that. And there's only so much D'Angelo Russell can do. And so that's another reason why some of these moves might be something that Sean Marks should consider. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to dive right in. And let's go with the first trade that I would do come this trade deadline. I would trade DeMarre Carroll and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson to the Pelicans for Nikola Mirotic and Etuan Moore. Now, this is why I would do it if I'm the Nets. First and foremost, Mirotic fits the mold perfectly. He's exactly what the Nets need. A stretch four who can still rebound and still be a good offensive player and is not that terrible defensively and can just really fit the mold of what the Nets need. The Nets really, truly need a true stretch four. Kurucs has hit this slump of shooting threes, and we all know Rondae Hollis-Jefferson has never been good at making threes. The best thing is when DeMarre Carroll plays the four spot and he makes threes. So they need help there, and Mirotic fits it perfectly and is an expiring contract. So, but why Etuan Moore? Well, the answer is simple. The Pelicans have made it clear that if they're making trades, they either want picks or they want to get out of some of their quote-unquote bad contracts. Now, there's not a lot of bad contracts with the Pelicans, to be honest. There's really just one really, really bad one, and that's Drew Holiday's contract, which the Nets are not going to play with. But then there's Etuan Moore's contract, which isn't terrible. It's 2 years, $16 million. So he's averaging $8 million a season. That's not a terrible number, but it's still a contract that is not expiring, and it's still locked in for 2 years. So if you're Sean Marks, you're saying to the Pelicans, listen, we want Mirotic. We'll take on Etuan Moore's contract so you can get out of it. We'll give you Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, who is still a young guy, who still has upside, and, you know, give a chance for him to figure out, and an expiring contract in DeMarre Carroll. So you're getting expiring contracts, young player with a little upside, and you're giving me a guy, a Mirotic, who you're probably not going to have next season anyway. I don't think you're going to bring him back. And you're getting rid of a contract at Etuan Moore that gives you a clean, fresh slate, salary dump. So that's why the Pelicans would do it. And if you're the Nets, why wouldn't you do this? Yes, you're going to be taking on the contract at Etuan Moore, and I know you want to have cap space, but $8 million is not a lot of money for next year's to take over the cap next year when you're going to get a player like Mirotic who fits the mold and can help the team now. And Etuan Moore's a good player. He's not great, but he's a pretty good three shooter and he's a decent defender. So he's a good rotational player, so why not? So this is a move I would definitely do, and you're not losing anything that you really wouldn't probably not have next year anyway. So that's why I would do it if I'm Sean Marks. I'm not sure if the Pelicans would do it. They might want a little bit more if they're trading Mirotic, who is honestly their third best player really on the team. But like I said, if I'm trying to say, hey, we'll take on Etwan Moore's contract, maybe they'll do it. So that's the first trade that I would consider. The second trade that I would like to do, this is one I really like. And I think it's a long shot, but this is one I really, really like. I would trade DeMarre Carroll and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, as well as the Nuggets' first-round draft pick, to the Clippers for Tobias Harris and Lou Williams. Now, I know what you're thinking. NetsBoy, why are we trading for Tobias Harris? Isn't everything that we're hearing from, the speculators and all that stuff is that Tobias Harris will probably sign with the Nets over the offseason? So why are we trading for a guy that we can just get for free over the offseason? And point, good, well taken. Tobias Harris is believed that he's going to want to sign with the Nets next year. The Nets most likely are going to want Tobias Harris. It's like a match made in heaven. His game, just like Mirotic, fits perfectly with what the Nets have. But actually he's better than Mirotic because he can do more than just shoot threes. And he's a complete scorer, decent rebounder, solid defender. He's a really good player, and he fits that mold. So, yes, I get it, but the idea is this trade would help the Nets now. If the Nets could get Tobias Harris now and not give up many pieces, this Nets team could make a deep playoff run, second or maybe even, I'd say at least second round. But you throw in Lou Williams as to try to entice the Clippers and say, listen, give us Lou Williams so you get, same reason as we do with Etwan Moore, you'll get out of his contract. Lou Williams is scheduled to make about $32 million the next 3 seasons. So he's averaging anywhere about $10 to $12 million a year the next 3 years. And you're saying, well, take on that contract, and we'll take a player from you that is probably going to be walking anyway, and we're going to give you Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, good potential young player with upside, just like before, and we're giving you an expiring contract in DeMarre Carroll, and we're going to give you a first-round draft pick. Yes, it's going to be a late first-round draft pick, probably in the high 20s, but it's still another first-round draft pick, and you're giving us players that probably aren't going to be on your team. Now, why would the Clippers do this? Because I know a lot of people will be like, well, it still doesn't make sense. Why do the Clippers want to tank? What's that? Well, here's the thing. The Clippers are currently the A seed in the Western Conference, and they're in an interesting situation. So, the Clippers, if they make the playoffs, they forfeit their draft pick because they have a protected lottery pick from the trade with the Pistons for that Blake Griffin trade. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure if it was for the Blake Griffin trade, but it was a trade that they made. Either way, they have a protected lottery pick, meaning if the Clippers make the playoffs, they don't have their pick. If they don't make the playoffs, they get to keep their pick, and it's in the lottery. And this we all know about, Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett and all the excitement. So, if you're the Clippers, who are currently the 8th seed, you have to make a decision. Maybe I blow up this team now and I start losing and I get to keep my draft pick, or do I try to keep the team together, make the playoffs, and probably lose in the first round to the Warriors anyway? You see what I'm saying? So if I'm the Clippers, I'm saying, you know what? Let's blow this up. Let's trade away as many players as we can and get as many assets as we can. Let's play like crap. Let's tank. And let's keep our draft pick. And this move will do that because you're getting a first-round draft pick. Though it's the Nuggets, you're getting a draft pick, expiring contracts to get out of Lou Williams' contract. And Lou Williams is arguably the second best player on the Clippers. But still, like I said, if you want to tank and keep your pick, get rid of him. Get rid of him and trade away Tobias Harris, a player who, like I said before, he's probably not going to resign with the Clippers anyway. So you're getting a player that's not going to come back to your team anyway, and you're getting rid of one of your better players, but a contract still, nonetheless, you're shedding off the contract, which is the whole point of it. You're getting rid of Lou Williams' contract for cap space and a decent young player in Rondae Hollis-Jefferson in a draft pick. That is what I would sell if I'm Sean Marks. That's what I'd tell the Clippers. And just imagine if Sean Marks pulls that off and the Nets have D'Angelo Russell, LeVert when he comes back, Dinwiddie when he comes back, Joe Harris, Kurucs, they'll still have Crab. Jared Allen, and then you add Tobias Harris and Lou Williams to this team with Shabazz Napier. Like, that is unbelievable. That team right there, in my personal opinion, could compete for the Eastern Conference Championship. I don't think they'll win the Eastern Conference Championship, but they could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I firmly do believe that with that team. Imagine that scoring punch with Lou Williams coming off the bench with Dinwiddie. Like, imagine that. You could, and you have Tobias Harris starting. You could have Lou Williams, Dinwiddie, Shabazz Napier, and Kurucs, and Ed Davis all coming off the bench. That's your second flipping unit. And it doesn't even do anything with Alan Crabb. Like I said, he'd still be on the team because I didn't include him in that trade. And Jared Dudley, when he comes back, there's your depth. Like, wow. Like, what a great, like, that trade gets me super excited because, and yes, you're forfeiting the Nuggets draft pick, but you're thinking about that team now, and then think about next year. You're still going to have cap space. You can either choose to try to re-sign Tobias Harris, who wants to be there anyway. You still have Lou Williams. Look, $10 million for Lou Williams is pretty solid. You're still going to have a max contract slot open. So maybe you go after Kyrie. Maybe you go after Kawhi. Maybe you decide to bring back D'Angelo Russell. I don't know. But either way, you still have flexibility. It doesn't take up all the cap space, and you have a chance to win now. So that's one of my more favorite trades. I don't know if the Nets are going to do it, mostly because I don't know if the Clippers are going to go with that. Because if the Clippers do put Lou Williams and Tobias Harris on the market, they might be able to get a slightly better offer than that. But that's still something I would love to see happen. So that's that trade. Now, here's another trade, the third trade now that I will go over. This is another fun one. Now, this one is probably the least likely of all of them, but it's fun. The Nets trade D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, and either DeMar Carroll or Alan Crabb for Kevin Love and Jordan Clarkson. So, to the Cavaliers. Now, here's why I would do this if I'm the Nets. This is a move that if you believe that you may not hit 2 max contract free agents in the offseason, this is the move that you do. Because Kevin Love is a max contract player and a star player. Now, yes, Kevin Love gets hurt all the time. Yes, he hasn't played a lot lately, but he is still one of the better power forwards in the league, and he is still a very versatile and solid, good all-star level player. Yes, I get it. This contract is going to take up a lot of the cap space. He's currently signed for another 4 years after this season, averaging $25 million a year. And that's why the Cavs definitely want to get rid of it. But my whole thing is, if you don't think you're going to bring in a max contract player or 2, this is the move to go. Because just imagine this team with Kevin Love. You could have, obviously you're giving up D'Angelo Russell. I get it. You don't want to do it. But you want to try to make something enticing. You want to give the Cavaliers some reason. But you can still have Dinwiddie, LeVert, Harris, Allen, and Kevin Love. And I throw in Jordan Clarkson in there, first of all, because you need somebody to replace D'Angelo Russell for the time being, especially until Dinwiddie comes back. Because he can be the starting point guard until Dinwiddie comes back. And then Clarkson can fill that Dinwiddie coming off the bench role that Dinwiddie's been doing this season. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would do that. But also, cap space. Clarkson is signed for another 3 years as well, I think at about $12 million a season. So that's, you're creating cap flexibility for the Cavs. So the Nets are saying, I will take on 2 bad contracts that you want to get out of, and I'll give you a young all-star player in D'Angelo Russell, and you'll just take the rest are fillers. I would rather trade Crabb than Carroll because Crabb still has 1 year left after this season. It's a player option, so it's not guaranteed. But I feel like Alan Crabb would be really dumb to not accept his player's option or exercise his option because it's worth $18 million. And I'm sorry, I don't think any team is giving Alan Crabb more than $18 million if he hits the free agency. So I would still try to sell the Crabb to the Cavs and saying, look, I know it's not fully expiring, but it's much more manageable than the 2 contracts we're receiving. But if not, that's why I would throw Carroll in because that's an expiring contract. So you're getting an all-star caliber player in D'Angelo Russell to focus your rebuild now. You get Jared Dudley expiring and DeMar Carroll expiring. And the Nets are getting two really good player, an all-star caliber player in Love, and a really good rotational player, six-man type caliber player in Jordan Clarkson. And this is a move that, if it happens now, the Nets would compete, especially if Love comes back healthy towards the end of the season. He's not supposed to come back, I think, until after the All-Star break. And Clarkson, obviously Dinwiddie and LeVert and everybody else would have to come back. But that's a move I think the Nets could do, and it could set them up for next season. They would still have enough money for one max contract player next season, and you could say, okay, Kevin Love. I could play with Kevin Love and Jared Allen and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie and Joe Harris. Maybe I want to come there if I'm Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard or, something along the... Maybe. So that's a move that I would consider if I'm the Nets. It's a long shot. I don't see the Nets doing it because I don't see the Nets really taking on bad contracts to lock up, cap space. I think they'd rather have the flexibility to try to pursue others. But that is a move I would consider doing if I felt that, first of all, like I said, it could help them win now as long as Love comes back healthy like he should. And Clarkson helps them. It helps them win now, but also it sets them up for being competitive in the next couple years. Yes, the Kevin Love contract is going to be tough because it's going to take him until he's 34 years old, 34, 35 years old, but still, he's a very good player. So that's something I would consider. So I don't think it's going to happen, but that is still a move that I'm throwing out there that maybe Sean Marks should look into. Okay, now the big one. The big trade. This is a trade that I had mentioned earlier. When I say earlier, I mean in previous NetsBoy episodes. All right. The Nets trade DeMar Carroll, D'Angelo Russell, Rondae Hollis-Jerfferson, and Musa, as well as an unprotected first-round pick, the Nuggets first-round pick, and the right to swap picks to the New Orleans Pelicans for Anthony Davis. Now, I've mentioned this in another episode. I just said that like 6 times, but I'm going to say it again. The Nets have to explore trying to trade for Anthony Davis. I don't know if Anthony Davis will re-sign with the Nets. I don't remember if that's one of the teams he said he would re-sign with on his list or whatever. But you got to give them the Pelicans a call if you're Sean Marks just to hear out what, this is an offer. But here's the reason why this is the trade I would do. It checks off every box the Pelicans say. Now, I'm going to throw Eton Moore in there as well to check off more boxes for the Pelicans. Because the Pelicans said when they trade Anthony Davis, they want several young players with potential, including one franchise player, several draft picks, and taking on a bad contract. Well, young players, Musa, Rondae Hollis-Jerfferson, and all-star caliber franchise player, D'Angelo Russell. Draft picks, Nets unprotected, Nuggets, and right to swap, 3 draft picks. Bad contract, let's take Eton Moore's contract. Same reason why I said it before with the Mirotic trade. It's not expiring, even though it's still a respectable contract. It's not expiring, and it's something that will let them shed cap space. All those players in that trade coming from the Nets, all will be free agents and all are on expiring contracts, except for Musa, but he's on a rookie contract, so that's not much. This is the offer I would offer for Anthony Davis if I'm the Nets. And I personally would say if I'm Sean Marks, this checks off all your boxes. This checks off everything. So let's do it. Now, I have read that the Pelicans would probably want Kurucs and Jared Allen or Karis LeVert instead of D'Angelo Russell in the trade. And my answer is simply no. I would not do that. I am not mortgaging the farm for Anthony Davis. I think that offer I just said is more than fair because you're getting young players. You're getting a franchise player in D'Angelo Russell. You're getting solid young players. You're getting draft picks, and they're taking on a contract. I would absolutely do that for Anthony Davis. The question is, will the Pelicans? Pelicans, obviously, the Lakers are very much so interested. They obviously are going to not rush this decision because Anthony Davis is still signed through next season. We know that the Celtics will be interested come the offseason. The Knicks are obviously a team that wants him. So I don't think this is going to happen. But if I'm Sean Marks, this is the offer I am giving them to start. And I would say this. If it meant getting Anthony Davis, if these were the players I was giving up, these are the players if I was giving up from the Nets, and it meant getting Anthony Davis, I would say to the Pelicans, yes, I'll take Drew Holiday's disastrous contract as well. That's right. Because if it means getting Anthony Davis with Drew Holiday, Drew Holiday is not a bad player. He's a, what is he averaging, I think, like 21 points, 20 points, and like 5 assists or something like that. He's a really good player, especially when he's healthy. He's just not worth the 4 years, $25 million a season that he's getting paid. But I would do it. I would even take on that contract. And I'd say, you know what? My team could be Drew Holiday, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Anthony Davis, and Jared Allen. That's my starting lineup. I'll have Dinwiddie coming off the bench in the same role he's in. Shabazz Napier, Alan Crabb, whatever. Kurucs, and Ed Davis. Like, that's a great rotation. That's an Eastern Conference championship caliber team. Is it enough to win the championship? I don't know, which is why I'm hesitant to do the Drew Holiday trade. But I'm just saying, if I need to really entice them to get Anthony Davis, I would consider accepting Drew Holiday. But the original offer would not be for Drew Holiday, it would be for Etuan Moore, and that's who I would offer. And I am not giving up LeVert, I am not giving up Allen, I'm not giving up Kurucs. I'm sorry. But so that's the trade that I would do there. All right, so, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. Now the very last trade that I would do. And this was the most likely one that the Nets will do. And that is nothing. Got you there, right? Yeah, I know, right? You thought I was going to say some trade. Nothing. The Nets trade nothing. They do nothing this trade deadline. That is what I think they will do. That is something I personally wouldn't do, but I would not be surprised if they do. You just say, hey, status quo. LeVert's coming back. Dinwiddie's going to come back towards the end of February, early March. Crabb is back. Let's just see what this team is with full healthiness. Remember, when we were all healthy, we were a really good team. Let's see what we are. Let's not diverge from the plan. The plan was develop the players, see what happens, enter free agency with tons of cap space. That was the plan. So maybe Sean Marks is going to say, I'm not going to do anything. Let's just stick to the plan. And I think this is the way the Nets will go. It's the most likely scenario. Like I said, I will look into some of these other moves, but I think this is what's going to happen. So the number one trade is trading nobody. Sticking with this team, just getting healthy and making a playoff push and try to make a run in the playoffs and maybe get to the second round. That's what I think they're going to do. Side note, perhaps I heard something like this. I don't think I would do it, but there's some rumors that maybe the Nets would sign Carmelo Anthony, who was recently waived by the Bulls. Hey, you know what? Go for it. Carmelo Anthony has kind of, been a shell of himself the last couple of years. He seems to bring a little drama, but I'm not against, you give him like a 1 year, the rest of the season contract for, whatever. I don't even care. You just sign him through this season. Why not? It's not going to hurt you cap in the future, and you bring in a scoring, he's basically a power forward now. He plays more of the 4, so he fits the mold of what the Nets need. Another scorer, a stretch 4 type player. Hey, why not? I read about this. I would do it. That's not a trade, but I wouldn't be against the Nets getting Carmelo Anthony just to try to solidify the team for a playoff push and a playoff run. Why not? Yeah. But I don't know. That's a complete side note. But overall, those are some of the trades that I think the Nets should do. And I'm looking at the time now, and we're going on 24 minutes. And so I really got to wrap this up. So that's it. Those are the trades I would consider, as well as possibly signing Carmelo Anthony. Why not? So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about my trade suggestions. So maybe some suggestions you've come up with, what you think the Nets would do moving forward. And let's see what happens. My next NetsBoy episode will probably be relatively soon, probably a couple days after the trade deadline, to go over what happened. If nothing happened, then maybe it'll be a little bit later, because then what's the point of talking about anything if nothing happened? But, if the Nets do make a move, then be sure to check out right after that. So keep your eyes open for the latest NetsBoy episode. Thank you for bearing with me in this long, long episode. And keep your eyes open. Comment, share, subscribe. And this is NetsBoy on the hunt for his hat and signing off.